Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I saw Mario yesterday and these are my thoughts. So a lot of you have probably seen that the Rotten Tomatoes score is just horrific, and I want you to know the movie's really good. And you can tell by the audience critic score, like there's a night and day difference. I'll give you an example of something that I saw yesterday. So Grace Randolph, who I absolutely love and adore, I really respect her as a pioneer on YouTube as far as a movie reviewer goes. And she put out a review that was like literally saying it was the worst thing she's ever seen. At the same time, she's never played any of the games. I understand how she feels where a movie should just be fine on its own and not be so problematic if you're not aware of the lore of the film. I do agree with that. But to be fair, a lot of times fans are disappointed when they feel like the movie or TV show wasn't made for them. And I think that this is the best example of a movie being made for the fans. I had a blast at the theater. People were applauding in my showing, which I thought was just amazing, for multiple instances throughout the movie. I want to talk about a few things that I absolutely loved. I do have some critiques of the film. I don't think it's perfect, and we'll get into that after all the positives. So Chris Pratt was fine. He was great, and I will tell you why. So they handle the way he speaks in a very smart way. I love that the commercial that they put out for their plumbing company is like so over the top Italian, and it's like the character they play to like have a gimmick. It's like we're these super Italian plumbers, and it's super fun. I love that in Brooklyn they used the Beastie Boys song No Sleep Till Brooklyn. I thought that was a great use of that song, and it was fun and it worked really well. There's a complaint that I have later on about a song that they used, and we'll get into that later, but yeah, I loved the use of No Sleep Till Brooklyn for the brothers really getting pumped up about their first big plumbing job. The commercial like that we all saw kind of preemptively before the film was premiered is done in the movie, and that really explains the reason why Mario does not sound like the video game the entire time. And to be honest, that would be probably incredibly annoying if every single character sounded just like their video game characters, because they don't really talk in those games that much, and it was a very successful use of the way they sound when they actually do incorporate them a little bit in the Mario Kart sequence and things like that, like the wahoo, like things like that. Like they did that really well, and I really appreciated the balance that they did. The voice acting in general, which I think no one's been complaining about at all, was just phenomenal. Absolutely loved Jack Black as Bowser, and when they had him sing a song, I was like, yes, like because I love Jack Black. He's such a gifted, talented musician, and it felt so right, and it like the combination just felt fantastic. I loved it. The introduction of the Mario brothers and their family was amazing. I absolutely loved having them eat over a big Italian dinner together. I grew up in, I was born in New York, but I grew up in New Jersey, and I know a lot of Italian American families, and they all sounded spot on. It felt so accurate to what I'm used to seeing as far as that goes. Really, really well done. And that's one of the things I feel like too, that they also did well, because if you take a step back as an adult and you look at the actual lore of the games, it is like bananas. And you're like, wait, so it's like two plumbers from Brooklyn, and then you have like a huge monkey, and you have like a dinosaur and like a princess and mushrooms, and it's like very like who came up with this? Obviously, it's like one of those. And I think the way they rooted in how they got to the world and all that made a lot of sense and really grounded the film. And Keegan-Michael Key was like the perfect Toad. I know they raised the pitch on his voice a little bit, but you can still hear such great voice acting that he did, and I thought it was perfect casting. I really liked the fact that Mario didn't like mushrooms. I think that was kind of hilarious, because most Italian Americans love mushrooms, but you know what? Can't generalize a culture, and he doesn't like mushrooms, and then he's like, oh, I'm in like of course, this is what I need to eat. I'm in constant hell, but every time he eats a mushroom, I like love that. Just a little fun, you know. People might not like that, but I thought it was fine. I really felt it was such an authentic portrayal of the Mario games, and I loved what they did with Donkey Kong and the Donkey Kong world. I used to play Diddy Kong Racing a lot, which is like one of the most difficult games if you ever try to play with the hovercraft. Like, oh yeah, it is so challenging, and you just kind of fly all over the place. You don't really have much control, but I did used to play that constantly. It was cool to see little Diddy Kong like in the stadium. I loved that for sure. I was like, yes, Diddy Kong. I think one of the best aspects too of this was the score. It was taking every single theme from even the really obscure Mario games, and the composer did a great job of using them, integrating them at the right points in time. You could probably close your eyes and try to go through the entire film and just pinpoint which, that theme from that game and that theme from that game. Really love that. I think the score really works in this movie. A little nod, by the way, which is funny because I just watched this movie as a rewatch in March. The pizza place in Brooklyn that they start out the film with, they show it again later on, looks exactly like the pizza place in Do the Right Thing. So I don't know if anyone else caught that, but and they even have photos on the walls, and it looks, even the inside when they're on the booth, it is the same exact, I think it was definitely a little nod. So I thought that was really fun. I love that they had Baby Mario, Baby Luigi. They look exactly like they did in the games, as well as Baby Peach, which I honestly only got acquainted with the newer Mario Kart games. I never knew she existed. I did know Baby Mario and Baby Luigi from Mario Tennis, which I am a big fan of. I love that we found out too that a Dry Bones becomes Dry Bones because it's Bowser like flaming up a Koopa Troopa. Like, I loved seeing that. It was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So with all of the positives, and I could go on and on and on about all the things I loved about this, I have to name 3 negatives that I did not care for. Number 1 was the whole shenanigans with the dog in their first plumbing job. I don't really get why that was such a prominent plot point, and I don't really think dogs would care if you broke their bone in half. They would just be happy to still have it. And it kind of just, that was like the one lull to me that I was kind of like, okay, like when are we going to get through it? And I know it was kind of trying to show how Mario and Luigi can work together, not just with plumbing, but in like action type scenarios. I just feel like that could have been done a little bit better. My number 2 issue with the film is Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. And I really think it just should have been an older actor. I know they went with more of the like nebbishy New Yorker Jewish guy complaining, but I feel like it should have just been like an older gentleman that's like in his 80s or 90s being cranky in that way. And that to me just felt off. Like the character itself looks incredibly old, and you hear Fred Armisen's voice, who's like, I love Fred Armisen so much. I just felt like that was a big miscast in my opinion. And then number 3, the third issue I have with the movie, and it's not like the worst thing in the world, but the training sequence, which I loved and I thought was really well done, used the song I Need a Hero, and I feel like I'm just over that song, and it's really like such too of an obvious choice at this point. It was amazing in Shrek 2. That sequence was incredible in that movie. And then I saw it again for Shazam, the sequel to Shazam. And at that point I was like, well, it has been a really long time since Shrek 2, so we can deal with that, I guess. But then I saw it again just now, and I just felt like, come on guys, like get a new song. Like there's gotta be like multiple different opportunities for different songs to be used and things like that. So, even if they used Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, I would have been fine with that, because that would have been like Stranger Things, same message. So, anyway, yeah, I that was my one issue as far as the music goes. But again, the score was fantastic. I really think it's so clear that this is just the beginning. It kind of feels like a Batman Begins for the Nolan Batman series. It is like, okay, we've set everything up, everyone's in place, and now let's go crazy. I'm really excited to see Yoshi eventually. We did see Yoshi Island for like 2 seconds, and I kind of, they should have held that shot a little bit longer because I honestly almost missed it. Max knows that Yoshi is my favorite, and he was like, it's Yoshi Island, and you did see all the different colored Yoshis, but it was like so fast. And you can totally tell that Yoshi's going to be like one of the main characters moving forward in the sequel, I would predict. And then by like the third movie, you get to Wario and Waluigi. Like, there's so much, and the universe of Mario and Nintendo characters is endless. I was a big Star Fox fan. You could even start doing some Star Fox stuff. I would be happy with all of that. I think it's great that this movie is meant for the fans. I can't tell you how many times that we've seen projects where it's felt like the creators had no intentions of even pleasing the fans. They didn't care about the fans. They truly cared about the fans in this one. They truly put their heart in this. They really paid so much homage to the video games and the video game lore. It's endless what they can do moving forward. I really think this is still going to be a huge hit at the box office. There's no way they're not doing a sequel, a third, a fourth, a fifth. There's just such great content that can be brought to the big screen. And I'm really excited. They even alluded to space with Mario, with the little star thing. I'm blanking on his name right now, the little blue star that's melodramatic in this movie. With Rosalina and things like that. And certain games that I'm not as most familiar with, but I still know that they exist. I remember even, I never played Mario as a cat, but I used to see the commercials for that all the time. And I think that, that shows how much they care about the fans. And that's, to me, what's important. Because little kids are going to watch this movie, and then they're going to be like, I want to play some Mario games. And they're going to learn via through this movie. And, they're not going to, it doesn't matter if they catch everything right away. It's going to get them so excited to play some Mario Kart and Mario Party and all of that. I used to play a Yoshi Story growing up. Can't wait to further explore that. There's endless opportunities. Go see this movie. Have fun. It is meant for children. I personally would have liked a little bit more in the length. I felt it could have gone 20 minutes more, 15, 20 minutes more, a little bit more of the action sequences because they were really well executed. But again, I'm a 35-year-old and not a 5-year-old. So a 5-year-old might love this movie at its length and be like, we're good. So I can't really knock it for that too much. But yeah, go see this movie. It is so fun. And I know that if you are a Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, you probably know Mario in some form. You've probably been to a friend's house where you played one of the games. That's really all it's trying to do, is please the fans, which I think is fantastic. And if you've never played Mario, there's really no interest in seeing it anyway. So I don't know. No disrespect to Grace Randolph at all, because I think she's one of the biggest pioneers on YouTube as far as YouTube film reviewers. I watch her constantly. I love getting her news updates. I love her live streams. She's an incredible movie reviewer. I just think she missed the boat on what this movie was. So, and it's, it's not her fault. If I didn't know what Mario was, I probably wouldn't like this movie either. And it does rely heavily on people watching it, knowing the background. But again, the fans are really happy about this. It's when Game of Thrones was getting towards the end and everyone was having their fan theories online, and everyone's fan theories were better than the actual outcome of the show. I think that's really important to pay attention to for something as specific as this, and something that people have waited a really long time for. So I applaud you. Mario Brothers the movie, Super Mario Brothers the movie. I'm so pumped to see where this goes. And that's all I have to say. If you like this content, subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys soon.
Okie dokie.